A pair of Arizona Cardinal potential free agent fits targets are not going to hit the open market, Johnny Venerable.
No, we got updated cap numbers for AZ and the rest of the league, plus combine, front seven workouts coming down the pipeline, as well as some measurables that could scare off this podcast. PHNX Cardinals starts now from the combine. Hello and welcome in live from the NFL Combine in sunny kind of Indianapolis 2025 NFL Combine. PHNX Cardinals, your number one Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Give us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable, my co-host Brack, Damon, Dawg, Shane Deef behind the mic today and all week. Fired up for a loaded Thursday show and had an opportunity, Bo, to watch some prospects, to hear from some earlier today and yesterday. But we got to start with the free agent landscape. It's starting to evolve.
Yeah, we're going to get into that conversation, but let me welcome our friends, probably back in the Valley, most of you. Shaft, how about Digital Dush? We got Rich and Cody, Rafa, Biscuits in the Bear, T Clearly, what's going on? Love all of you. Thank you for joining the show. And I also loved to see the Bruce Arians head snap when Johnny dropped that live to start the show. That's been something I've been waiting for all week.
Well, the way this is set up, and you can kind of see, it's not just your fine fellas here of PHNX Cardinals. There's probably maybe 100 tables around us, so I'm always a little bit skeptical to start screaming abruptly. Now, most of the crowd has kind of tapered off, right? They're out at Lucas Oil across the street watching the workouts, so I felt like it was appropriate today.
You did. Yeah, there was less of a crowd. And no stage fright for you this time. You let it go, but I think you can go higher. Maybe tomorrow when we wrap up coverage here from Indianapolis, we'll get into it. There was the discussion, though, that needs to be had about, and it is similar to last year. This time last year, you saw Justin Benabuke and the Ravens, in doing right by themselves and keeping him and not allowing him to hit the free agent market. Same thing looks like it's going to be said for Osa Odighizuwa and also Trey Smith, the belle of the guard free agents this offseason.
Yeah, let's start with Trey Smith. We had talked about it leading up to this week that we felt like, and we reported this back in early January, the Cardinals were going to pursue a guard. What would that look like, right? They want to upgrade opposite Isaiah Adams, and I think people may scoff at the notion, certainly after this week, especially that the Cardinals aren't going to spend big money on a player in free agency. The Cardinals aren't going to be in on Trey Smith. Like, the Cardinals, like everybody else, should be in on Trey Smith because he's the best available, maybe overall player outside of T. Higgins in free agency, and I believe he was a realistic option. Now he's not. He's been tagged or will be tagged by the Kansas City Chiefs, and the collective hearts break from Arizona all the way to our friends at CHGO and the Chicago Bears. So maybe he wouldn't have been their top target, but how do you completely dismiss, like, hey, they need an upgrade at that position, but you know what? They're actually not going to spend what it would take. I feel like Trey Smith, to me, like Kansas City obviously sees his value. If Kansas City would have let him go, he would have had suitors. And right now they must feel like they're close enough on an extension, Bo, that they can franchise him because it doesn't feel like there's going to be a holdout there.
They want to protect their top asset, and that's their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And, they've got one of the best centers in the league in Creed Humphrey, and I think they want to continue to have that fortified interior offensive line. It's just when you have one, I think it would be a little dumb to relinquish it. So, the Chiefs are, they're a well-run organization, and they're weighing all their options, and they're trying to get this thing locked in and prepared and everything settled before they go into free agency with the rest of the league. And it's a little unfortunate, but, I don't think you can cry over this spilled milk at this point. Now it's like, okay, you pivot and you figure out, what the rest of the market's going to look like, with Trey Smith getting what he's going to get. And now the next guy moves up the board is Will Fries, a guy who played here in Indianapolis for the Colts. Is he maybe get a little bit more money because the market's going to be a little bit a little more aggressive, a little bit more tight than it was where if Trey Smith was going to have a suitor, was going to at least take that team out of the mix. So our friends over at CHGO Bears were all in on Trey Smith. Like you thought we were in on Trey Smith, we were, but I mean they were banking on this guy at least being able to get to pursue him, and now that's not available to him. So that you're going to have some of these fan bases and these organizations kind of trying to froth over who's next up on the depth chart as far as the free agent guards.
Yeah, it would have been the equivalent of like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, like simultaneously being taken off the market. That's what this is for our friends in Chicago. But here's where I'm at with it. Like the Cardinals, they have, I think, one of two options. They can re-sign Evan Brown and then draft another guard mid-round like they did maybe with Isaiah Adams last year. Or they have to upgrade significantly enough to make it worth it. Because I think a lot of people are like, well, just re-sign Evan Brown, re-sign Will Hernandez, which we don't think is a likely option for the team. Okay, well, if you're not going to do that, then you need to go out and make sure that it's enough of an upgrade to be worth it. Because we would all agree that outside of guard, like most of this money needs to go to the defensive front seven. And I think based on everything that we've heard while we've been here and beforehand, that's where the money is going to go. They're going to make an impact. They're going to flush those positions. So, if they love Will Fries and they feel like, or Dalton Reisner or whomever, that individual is a significant upgrade over Evan Brown, then go do it. But if you're sitting here and you've got Evan Brown as a B minus, and Will Fries is a B plus, you got to pay him, as Benjamin Albright said yesterday, A money. I mean, I think maybe you get a couple Evan Brown caliber players to come in and hold down the fort, and then you draft another offensive lineman. Because unless you deem, the next wave, because nobody was on Trey Smith's level, the next wave of guys, the Fries, etc., unless you deem them worthy of big money, it's like, just focus on what we all know is the biggest need on the team, and that's defensive tackle, defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, there's comfort in understanding or feeling like you could return to the status quo.
Yeah,
which was last week, and I see Claymore Jones in the chat saying, they did a pretty decent job keeping Kyler Murray upright and clean for the most part. Yeah. Just surrendered 30 sacks, but you watch from game to game. Sometimes he was utilizing his athleticism to help protect himself.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a good combination. It's a good, when things break down and he can evade pressure, that's great. But like what I was looking forward to, and I've said this before, is a potential upgrade at the position. And that's what you would pay a premium for. But if the good thing is you've got the comfort in knowing that you can return to some continuity. You would likely have, return your entire starting offensive line from last year are guys who did start for you, and just understand that the ceiling or the floor is high enough.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just feel like with this team right now and the way they want to develop, I mean, the line of scrimmage is the priority on both sides of the ball, but like to what we talked about, in prior off seasons, you may not be able to check every box. It may not be a perfect solution, right? A perfect world is Trey Smith's available and you have the cap space and he has the interest and you sign him, right? But again, I think they have enough wherewithal to kind of level set at all these positions of need and say, this is not a priority right now, or this takes center stage over this, and we're gonna weigh this player and their positional value over a guard. But we know like Kyler Murray is susceptible, not necessarily to edge pressure at the end of the day, but interior pressure.
Yeah.
We looked at the games against Seattle, right? Line of scrimmage play with Leonard Williams, and then good hell with what the Rams are doing now post Aaron Donald with that defensive line. When you can get pressure on Kyler Murray up the middle of the field, it's over.
It's tough.
He doesn't have the power in his physique and certainly doesn't have the height to be able to move up and climb the pocket when you need to. That's what differentiates Josh Allen and some of the Mahomes and these elite quarterbacks that can stand in there. Now, if there's an edge rusher that comes off the edge, he can make a broken play out of it. He can get the perimeter, and he does, and he rushes for first downs. And it's why, the Cardinals with Paris Johnson Jr., that's a deadly combination. But I mean, they've clearly made it known, like, we're going to continue to beef up this offensive line. They've added significant long-term pieces every year. You think about it. 2 years ago, it was Frold, Holt, and Paris. Last year, it was Jonah Williams, we think is back now, and Isaiah Adams. So they're going to add a left guard. Will it come next week or 2 weeks from now, or will it come in April? That remains to be seen.
I mean, I still view it as a spot that they can really kind of figure out if they can upgrade there. But it is nice to know that you've got some fallback plans. But at the same time, you have to kind of work with a bit of urgency now, just because there's so many needy teams. I mean, we work along with our colleagues across the network from DLLS to CHGO. They're going to be looking to upgrade at those spots. Like, we know that very well. And there's connections. There's Will Hernandez with Clayton Adams now, the OC in Dallas.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, Chicago try to throw the kitchen sink armed with more cap space than the Cardinals in order to kind of really protect their top asset and make sure that Caleb Williams doesn't get sacked 60 plus more times in his sophomore season and give him a chance. So, the market everybody kind of slides up a little bit. And, if it's the franchise tag or if it's, a lucrative extension for Trey Smith, it's going to reset the market and it's going to drive up everybody else's price. So now you're going to have to figure out if your willingness there and really kind of lean on your pro scouting department to decipher, like, is Will Fries or whoever, Mekhi Becton or who's going to be vying, or the Cardinals are going to be vying for their services. Are they going to be worth that hefty investment to upgrade over somebody that you could probably get at a really team-friendly price like an Evan Brown or Will Hernandez?
From one side of the ball to the other, we're going to break down a potential other top free agent target that could be settling back to Big D, plus an update on the salary cap situation. Just how much money do the Arizona Cardinals have? That's coming up here. PHNX Cardinals live from the site of the NFL Combine. You're gonna see me live at the side of my nearest Circle K when we head back to Phoenix Manana. I'm fired up. You should too. Become a member of the Inner Circle right now. Man, oh man, a Polar Pop from Circle K would feed families for your boy right now. All the sugar, all the caffeine. Let's go. I think you and I, when our vice is over, we're hopeful in the next coming weeks it is, that you and I go to Circle K and we get a couple of Polar Pops, and they'll do the job. They'll do the job right. From America's thirst stop, the Inner Circle, easy to download. Enter your phone number, your email address, and you're ready to rock and roll. Save 25 cents per gallon. Your first 5 fill-ups save 3 cents per gallon every single day. They've got plenty of member-exclusive deals and discounts. Plus, right now, you can go on the app and look under deals, and it's a treasure trove of saving money for you and your fam. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
I really love it. I like the idea of a Polar Pop. I also like the idea of getting a Waymo on my way home from the airport. I mean, it would just hit so hard as far as it's going to America's Thirst Shop, loading up on snacks, and then just sitting back in the comfortability of Waymo and this ride-hailing service that I just love everything about it. It's just comfortable. It's clean. It's luxurious. It's unbelievable. 150,000 trips per week across San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. Just really fortunate that's available in our area. Waymo's the first company to serve fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel since 2015. Waymo, 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. That's enough to drive to the moon and back 80 times. Download the Waymo One app today and get your ride today with Waymo. The Waymo One app. Can't wait to get my ride home on tomorrow night.
Excited to experience Waymo. Excited for everybody liking this video. We got more surprises coming later this week. But in the meantime, everybody's asking, did I finish my steak yesterday? We're going to get to that later in the show.
Wow.
The ultimate tease.
Pretty surprising results from last night.
It's just disingenuous, Bo, on full effect here. No. What does Damon have to say?
The answer will shock you.
It will. Wow. It will.
There's a photo. It may or may not have leaked on Twitter. I don't think it has yet. I don't think it has. I don't know why I just said that. The photo itself, there's a lot going on. We'll break it down later in the show. But as we continue to dissect the salary cap and the Arizona Cardinals, let's take a look at where the Cardinals currently sit. This is from our friend Donnie Druin at SI. Yeah.
Druin on Twitter.
Yeah. Donnie's a great guy. We hope to get him on the show here in the near future. Breaking down the Cardinals' potential cap space. Donnie reporting with the NFL salary cap at $279.2 million for 2025. Cardinals currently have the following money to work with via overthecap.com. Overall cap space, fifth in the NFL, $76 million. But this is the big one, effective cap space. They are fourth in the NFL in effective cap space at $72.6 million. And again, like I think it's important, like, are the Cardinals going to spend all that this offseason? Of course not. They're never going to be the Steve Keim Cardinals, nor should they. But I think like
Kid with their parents' credit card.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Max and Mall, infinite debt, right? It's like calling those debt shows. It's like I have $1 million in debt. How much is that as your mortgage? Only $100,000. I've got 20 personal loans. That was Steve Keim. Monti Ossenfort, at the end of the day, I believe will spend money. I believe we'll spend a large chunk of this. The consensus,
I believe,
the more we talk to people here, it's like Cardinals are going to spend. Now, it may not be the players that we want.
Yeah.
It may not be, Trey Smith had he hit the open market.
Right.
And we'll hopefully have some answers here in the coming days of maybe who their top targets are. I know some people are floating it out there. We had all brought on our show yesterday. It's like Cardinals can and will pursue Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. Well, they're going to do that with $72 million at their disposal.
It's a good chunk of money.
Yeah.
As as you pointed out, it's the effective cap space that really kind of means, how much they have to deal with this offseason as far as the 2025 offseason. And you don't have to really factor into too much beyond that, where like this is where they can comfortably add a big premium contract with really kind of not much ramification. Obviously, like it's the future years, right, and how that's going to impact. So that's where Monti Ossenfort's really going to have to earn his role here as Cardinals general manager. And then you're looking at what impact makers can be out there in free agency. It can be sometimes fool's gold, but that's exciting. It's exciting when your team takes good advantage and puts themselves in a spot to where they can add. They don't have a whole lot of dead money, and they can go out there, and if they wanted to try to fill a need with one of these free agents, they can absolutely do so. They can sit at any negotiating table and flex their salary cap muscles.
The Cardinals, again, it's not can they secure free agents, but at the same, or will they? But can they? Can Monti Ossenfort close deals, right? And I think until he does it, fans are going to remain skeptical, especially on the heels of these grades from yesterday. The consensus that I saw on Twitter was, well, now we're not going to get anybody, right?
Right.
And then we have Mike Garafolo on. It's like, I don't know if that'll matter at the end of the day. It's like, can I get a big fat check? Do I get to live in Scottsdale or Paradise Valley or North Phoenix, right? Like, I think at the end of the day, if you're a free agent looking to cash in, that's where, if you're Michael Bidwell, having Jonathan Gannon as a recruiter, like, how do you guys think that the Arizona Cardinals built this staff? Jonathan Gannon recruited these coaches to come coach for him.
Yeah.
From Drew Petzing, Nick Rallis, and now Justin Fry. I mean, Justin Fry, we know, had interest from Chicago, among other teams.
Yeah.
Gannon got that done. I am willing to believe that they are going to have the same recruiting power with players that maybe played for Jonathan Gannon once upon a time. It's a novel concept. Like, hey, I may not love the Cardinals' grades. I'm ex-free agent, but, man, I love playing for Jonathan Gannon. Or I love everything I hear about Jonathan Gannon. Oh, and then you're going to give me $75 million guaranteed, by the way. Like,
right.
I think there's enough cachet there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cliff Kingsbury got J.J. Watt to play for him once upon a time in Arizona.
Yeah. I think he was kind of the direct beneficiary of J.J. Watt coming to play for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
No, but you're absolutely right. And I think what we've learned, especially during our conversations with, the Cardinals decision makers, their head coach, the other day on the podium, and you're getting some love in the chat as far as from Elliot saying Johnny was asking the questions there to Monti and Jonathan Gannon.
So was Bo.
Yeah. But they just wanted to credit you, and that's fine. And you asked some good questions. Really was they're skeptical about the ability to really kind of build for the free agency, but they're not building in free agency. They're supplementing. This is a supplemental opportunity here what this cap space is providing you. So you just hope that they take advantage of that, and they're not asking the questions. Well, why shouldn't we do it? There's so many reasons now as far as how this roster has been rebuilt, and it's now I think the season of this how things have changed in this the regime that they spend this money and be aggressive and at least get somebody, and it be a little bit different than them being active in free agency like they were last year and then kind of non-participants the previous season before that.
I know there's some rumors or some stuff floating around that the Cardinals are going to re-sign their own. Let me just kind of preface this with everybody. The Cardinals don't have free agents that are valued outside of really their building that would go early. So whether the Cardinals
is that a real rumor? Like football team wants to retain some of their impending free agents?
It doesn't feel like something that you have to state, even though Ossenfort confirmed at the presser. He's like, we're going to try to get a couple of our guys signed here before free agency.
He did say that, and then somebody reported that like right afterwards.
Here's where I'm at with it. The Arizona Cardinals, like, let's just use Evan Brown, for instance.
Yeah.
If the Cardinals re-sign Evan Brown because they are reading the tea leaves that the market isn't great for guards and it takes a dark turn, do a deal with Evan Brown. You know what that deal is going to look like? 1 year, a couple $1 million. And Evan Brown's like, oh, great, I don't have to move my family. And I can get this ready and I can do the offseason instead of waiting until the third tier of free agency to get that settled. Same with, like, they wanted to re-sign Chris Barnes or Kelvin Beachum. So I think if you see a move, and it's good to kind of preface this within the next couple of weeks, like, don't freak out before free agency, because you made a good point to me off air today. And what was that point with respect to, like, you sign players now to little to no money that are your own, and you can cut those players.
Yeah. No, yeah, you can keep guys in house. I mean, we were seeing last year where they were retaining guys, and like Chris Barnes, was somebody that the team trusts. He knows the system. He's a guy that can come in and he can spot start. He can play snaps at the off-ball linebacker position. If they bring him back Barnes, and then say they draft somebody on day 3 that plays off ball, and they like him, and it's a numbers crunch, like just like Chris Barnes before they started the regular season last year, he was cut, and then they brought him back on the practice squad and did just some kind of roster gymnastics. Like, these are going to be guys that are not going to command a ton of guaranteed money. And with that, they become expendable. And when you've got the competition, like, it just fires up the competition, but at least that you have guys that can compete and give you significant, production, not significant, with production, hopefully in limited, snaps.
Rafa in the chat, beautifully stated. Most of these guys are backups, right? Like, Tristan Colon, Roy Lopez, they could put
None of these guys are getting comp picks.
No, these guys, you're going to put a contract in front of them. It's like, hey, you want to come back and be a backup or a role player, and we're going to pay you this amount of money, and it's not going to break the bank, but it's going to give us a little bit of security, and you may or may not make the team.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the Cardinals are, in a weird way, a benefactor of overachieving from a personnel standpoint, specifically defensively, and now saying, like, okay, we can go a lot of different directions. Most of the league knows, and we're not breaking news here, that the job done by the Cardinals defense, and I don't want to take away the job done by a lot of guys, but it was a coaching kind of overachieving what was happening.
Yeah. Brian's saying that Johnny wants Gardeck back. Is that who you want him to bring back?
No.
So Dennis.
I think Dennis Gardeck, coming off yet another knee injury.
What is going on with the show?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything as it relates
Guys,
to.
can we keep it professional?
Trying to.
Indy's getting to us, man. It's just this city
we're
just
we're
grinds you
worn
down. That's right. Everybody drop a like here. From the defensive line to the offensive line.
Hey, let's tune in and just listen to Johnny and Bo just hack up a lung
Sneeze,
into
cough.
their mics.
Yeah. The Midwest, it changes you, man. This was reported earlier today by Fish Sports, if that's a real entity.
No, that's a real guy.
Yeah,
He covers the
Fish Sports.
He's a Dallas sports reporter. That's legit.
Yeah, he's over 100,000 followers. I put him in the show. Sources, Cowboys are very close to a deal with Osa Odighizuwa.
Wow.
Should come in above $21 million. How about it?
I've never been more proud of Johnny than in this exact moment. Johnny, that was special.
If I tried to say his last name 10 more times, I'd get it wrong.
You get a different version the next 9 times you said it.
But I'm going to go out on a high note. Now I can refer to him, because I was respectful of his last name, as Osa moving forward during this segment.
Yeah.
Big O is big gone. It looks like Dallas with money, I guess, to spare, unless you're Micah Parsons, $21 million. Osa, Trey Smith potentially gone. And while Osa was not our top target.
That's crazy, by the way.
It does feel like the price for Milton Williams has gone up, does it not?
It does. It certainly seems that way. And $21 million for Osa, you didn't think that. I mean, you knew what his market was going to command, but for Dallas to be able to go out there and spend that money, it's kind of nutty. Considering, like, they're paying Dak so much. What his cap hit is, as it stands right now, is insane. You're paying CeeDee Lamb, you're paying Trayvon Diggs, you're gonna have to pay Micah Parsons. Like, I don't understand how they're gonna make that work. And like they're gonna sit out free agency again. They're gonna retain their guy, and they're gonna just sit on their hands for the rest of the offseason. That's like one of the, like, if you think it's tough and you're skeptical as far as are they gonna spend this money, like, Cardinals are in a position to spend money where there's so many teams out there that are in salary cap hell, and have done a bad job in kind of diagnosing who to keep, who to spend on, and then who to kind of let walk and test free agent waters. It's and Dallas is one of those teams. It's a mess.
Are the Cowboys really about to like restructure Dak and kick the can down the road even more on that contract?
Yeah.
Because how else are they finding this money?
I don't know.
I think they want to set Kellen Moore up for success because, or not Kellen Moore,
Brian
Brian
Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer, because everybody thinks that hire is a joke. And they're like, well, we can't let him fall on his face. Let's give him at least the minimum of what Mike McCarthy had, and let's see if he can surprise people. And he's an offensive guy, so you got to load up on defensive personnel and hope he can supplement offensively. But I just, that's a disaster team. And
Yeah.
good luck to Clayton Adams. I just feel like that's a situation in which, I mean, yeah, if you're Osa, no state tax in Texas, team you were drafted by, go get your money.
Yeah.
But for the Arizona Cardinals, like I see some people in the chat saying, oh, the Cardinals aren't going to get Milton Williams. Now, the Cardinals know how much Milton Williams costs.
Yeah.
The-
Shaft saying 14 to 15. That was a couple weeks ago. From what we've heard out here from people who cover the Eagles, like they fully expect him to be a $20 million guy.
Now I would think that number goes up to like 22, 23, $24 million. I mean, it's just, if the Cardinals want Milton Williams, because I do think Milton Williams would want to play for Jonathan Gannon again.
Mhm.
Albright confirmed that yesterday. Like I think in the low 20s, you got to be comfortable going. And again, like we don't know if Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort think that Milton Williams can play over 60% of the snaps. We hope that that's the case. I would imagine any team that's signing him is going to play him more than 60% because Osa plays more.
He's never played 50% of
50% of the
I
snaps.
mean, he was just hovering below that this season. I think he was 45 to 50 for the Eagles. I mean, I think he played 45% of the snaps in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you see, like, it's an impactful half the snaps on defense.
Another kind of footnote here that you can take from the combine is like the more people we talk to, the more that we feel like it's, I don't know. It feels like with this defensive line, they're not going to let anything stand in their way finding upgrades. Like, even though it feels like, hey, we've got X player and we signed them last year maybe, or we took a draft pick once upon a time, say for Darius Robinson, who we feel like is going to be a star. Like, if there's an upgrade to help this team win and it makes fiscal sense based on the money and the years and how old the player is, like they're not going to let Bilal Nichols or Baron Browning stand in the way of getting better.
Right.
They're not going to double down on, I don't want to call it mistakes, but old moves that would deter from new moves helping them win. Because there's a ceiling on Bilal Nichols. There's a ceiling on Baron Browning. You hope that they understand, and they do, because they're smart people, that you go out and you get a Milton Williams or a Josh Sweat. It raises the ceiling on what you had.
Yeah. Yeah, great spot. It's nice to see that kind of get solidified, that cap number to near just under $280 million across the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And the Cardinals, as our guy Donnie Druin from SI, he was pointing out, Cardinals are going to have about $72 million effective cap space to make some moves. I mean, I think they're going to they have to, I would imagine, just because to tap into really kind of hitting about that 89% cap usage over that 4-year span. So we'll see. I mean, they've been kind of saving some money the last couple of years. It was like right around 10, like Ossenfort's first offseason, 10 million saved, and then the next offseason, upwards of 20. Just dip below 20, I think, before the end of the season.
David in the chat saying, said it before, we're not signing any of these free agents. David, my brother, keep that energy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Monti Ossenfort's presser, I know, deterred a lot of people. He's like, he didn't say anything, and it doesn't look like we're going to spend, and it's very much in vogue. I saw it all over Twitter today. Cardinals aren't going to be spending. Yeah, everybody we talk to here is telling us the opposite of that the team is going to spend, that they have targets in mind, that they feel like they can get upgrades in free agency. Again, may not be the upgrades we want necessarily, although I think that they're going to come from the top 20 of most rankings, but Ossenfort, Gannon, they're lockstep. I feel like for the first time, cautiously optimistic we go into free agency like we're going to have some significant transactions to talk about.
We need it.
Yeah. Inject it.
We need it.
We also need you to like this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Jack Sawyer, measurables. Not good. That's coming up. PHNX Cardinals.
Poor man.
It makes me sad. I'll tell you what doesn't make me sad are my shady Rays. I've been repping them all week. They're in my bag. And whether I'm in here in Indy or sunny Phoenix, which I get to return to.
I need them to hide these bags under my eyes.
That's right. They do the job in more ways than one. They can hook you up. It's an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And again, they're durable, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all of your outdoor adventures. They have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. I've got 4 pairs at home. My wife tried a pair, didn't love them. She sent them back, got a new pair, free and clear. Again, if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection for all their eyewear. Every pair is backed by a lost or broken replacements, and you can get most any pair under $40 right now using the bonus code PHNX for 35% off. Again, it's a exclusive deal for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com, use the bonus code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars, Bo, by over 300,000 people.
You love it. You're going to be wanting sporting your Shady Rays when you're out there at the Phoenix Raceway, March 7th through March 9th. Yeah, that's just weeks away, right before the start of NFL free agency. It's going to be NASCAR's Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. Nothing beats a day at the track in the sun, watching the cars go vroom around the oval out there in the West Valley. We love it. Nothing like witnessing the stars of NASCAR battle 200 miles per hour on the 1 mile oval raceway in the foothills of the gorgeous Estrella Mountains. Damon, you ever been out there?
I went last year, Bo.
Yeah.
It was immaculate vibes out there in the Estrella Mountains.
They always have a legit flyover. You're always just feeling it. You're right. The vibe's immaculate. They
I
always
signed
are.
my name on the racetrack. You can do that if you get there early enough. Unbelievable.
Did you put Damon Dawg? Wolf?
I think I actually did put Damon Dawg.
All right. I like that. 40 drivers competing at the highest level. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Butter, Denny Hamlin. How about Ross Chastain and Johnny's guy, the series champ, Joey Logano?
Logano.
Yeah, he's a Logano, but Johnny loves him. Get your tickets now, PhoenixRaceway.com. That's PhoenixRaceway.com.
Big thanks to everybody who's liked this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Drop a like. It helps the show exponentially. We got over 200 people watching on YouTube alone. Hit that like button. We appreciate everybody in the chat. So much good dialogue here. And we haven't had a ton of time to talk prospects this week. Again, it's such a weird, funny class. You know, I think Benjamin Albright broke it down well yesterday. It's like, well, you know these quarterbacks are going to go. He's of the mindset like Genty's going to go. Mm-hmm. And then could be a couple tight ends that sneak in there. We'll see how this tackle class shakes out. It's really setting it up for the Cardinals in a perfect world to use both of their picks to take defensive linemen, whether that be an edge rusher or a D tackle at 16. And I think, Bo, a lot of it's going to be dictated on what they do in free agency. What prospects have the Arizona Cardinals talked to? We had a chance to connect with a number of them, starting with my boy Jack Sawyer, who we're going to pull up his measurements here in a second. But let's pull up. I asked Jack Sawyer what he thought of Jonathan Gannon. Here's the Ohio State standout.
Yeah, I have. You know, Coach Gannon seems like a great guy, you know, full of energy. And, you know, I like the way they do things over there. So, you know, wherever I go will be a blessing, but definitely like those guys.
Yes. Talking about his formal meeting, right? He
Yeah.
met with the Cardinals, so there was one. They're all sitting in the room, and it's Jack Sawyer, and they're just the firing squad is throwing questions at him. So, you know, there's enough interest that they wanted to have a sit down with him, a formal interview. It wasn't an informal thing. So, you know, for you, Jack Sawyer, the Captain Jack Sawyer, truther, like that's a good sign for you at the very least. I mean, this is the information gathering part of it, but
yeah, and before we get to Captain Jack's measurables, they also talked to his roommate, JT, on the opposite end, who did have 12.5 sacks. Let's hear from him.
Man, those are great. I mean, those are my brothers right there. Going against Paris, rooming with him my freshman year. That was my roommate. And just all the, you know, countless battles we had in practice and just, you know, just helping each other. You know, what he did on this play, what I did on this play, and just continue to give each other those tips and coaching points. I mean, it'll be great to continue to go against him and just get each other better. And then Marvin, I know I can't go out there and guard him and give him some competition, but, you know, it'll be cool to play for both those guys and with both of those guys.
JT's a great guy, and so is Jack Sawyer, and they both are not first-round prospects yet. One could be going in the opposite direction, however, as much as I'm fired up about Jack Sawyer, and he still needs to run.
Sure.
And we're hoping to see that later this evening. The measurables creeped out earlier today, and we missed it. We were doing some other business on the side.
Yeah.
Jack Sawyer, here it is. Here are his combine measurements for the little fanboy podcast that could. Height, 6'4", good. Weight, 260, good. The arm length, Bo.
Mostly top heavy, though.
Yeah, the arm length, though, 31 3/4. And when you saw that number, you gasped.
You
audibly
you want to
gasped.
be around 33. I think that's the really kind of you can venture to 32, and there have been players that have shorter arms than around that area, but yeah, kind of the benchmark for edge rushers, you want them a little bit longer arm, like 33 I think is the cutoff, and 31.5 is those are baby T-Rex arms.
It's going to be tough if he does not run well or perform well, and he's just kind of average in the workouts. I think, the chatter you're hearing a little bit this week is, could he fall out of the first 2 rounds? Now, I'd love to take him in the 3rd round as a value pick. I think you would too. But now,
put words in my mouth.
Yeah, maybe not. But
what do you guys think he's going to run?
I
guesses.
I think right now, with the way things are kind of trending, I mean, if he broke 4.7, I would be happy for him.
I think he's going to get like 4.8.
This could be, I don't want to say Scooby Wright, because Scooby Wright was an off-ball linebacker, but I do think
Scooby Wright was like barely 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
It is Scooby Wright vibes, though.
Yeah, I got a little Scooby snack going on, Scooby Wright snack.
Ruh-roh. That's what happened when you saw those measurables, when you saw that arm like that.
I want good things for him because he and I connected.
That's great. Okay,
we locked eyes.
Let's talk about real prospects now, okay?
All right, talk about Damon's got another JT bite.
Well, that's funny. I mean, you say let's talk about real prospects. We're talking about Jack Sawyer running. I'll tell you where Jack Sawyer ran pretty fast, Bo, on that scoop and score that he had to beat Texas in the college football playoff semifinal. Let's hear JT talk about it.
I'll probably say my favorite memory. I mean, you got to go with the scoop and score from Jack. I mean, just seeing it, where the game was at that time, and it was tied up. It was a close game, and that kind of like changed the whole momentum. And I mean, that's one play that I'll remember, and I'm pretty sure everybody will remember for the rest of their lives.
And that you can tell he's respected by his teammates, his peers. He's a really good football player.
Great kid.
And you got to this is why you have he is why the combine exists.
Yeah, I didn't see on those measurables the size of his heart because they don't have that. They can't measure that.
There's a certain Arizona Cardinal once upon a time named Pat Tillman who fell to the 7th round because people didn't like people.
You think he falls all the way to 7th?
No,
round?
but I feel like sometimes we get too hung up.
What a fall!
I would rather take a chance and lose. Not lose on the field, but lose with a prospect who's a great football player, and his numbers are just okay.
I don't know what happened, my co-host. It's losing football what you're playing this
No,
offseason.
I think
sentimental.
I think
he is. He's getting soft in his old age.
Here's where I'm at. You want the prospect that mirrors.
It's the lack of sweets.
Okay.
It's taking away his edge.
Can I get my point out, please?
I guess.
I'm looking for obviously the combination of tape plus measurables, right? But I would rather roll.
He doesn't have the measurables at all.
Okay, but I would rather. Okay. That's a little harsh. He's here. He's put together. I would rather have a guy that was an elite college player, and then the measurables are questionable, versus a guy who was not a great college player. And hey, I'm in my skivvies and I'm running around and I'm Shamir Stewart, or some of these guys 1.5 sacks, bro. That scares you.
Yeah, and I understand that 3 straight years of 1.5 sacks.
It's like
it's not a sample.
This podcast covered Tyree Wilson 2 years ago, and I'm like, please, that is not going to work out if the Cardinals draft him. And they took Isaiah Simmons. Like, I don't want to draft athletes.
Yeah.
I want to draft great football players. Now, am I taking Jack Sawyer with this new information of 47 now? Probably not, right? But I would still draft him.
Yeah,
he's a draftable player.
JT said there, Johnny, that he's pretty sure no one will forget that for the rest of their lives.
What's that?
The scoop and score.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you're going to be on your deathbed thinking about that play, Johnny.
I know we do super chats at the end of the show, but Reezy Baby just threw maybe the ultimate knife in the heart for me. $2 super chat, Reezy Baby. Jack Sawyer is upper middle class Dennis Gardeck.
I honestly,
that is just a phenomenal super chat.
I don't even think it is. I don't even think that's accurate.
Well, yeah, Jack Sawyer is bigger and stronger than Dennis Gardeck.
But Dennis Gardeck does a lot more things that at the pro level are going to help you win football games. He's got a better bend.
Let's wait and see. You're bearing a kid.
Let's talk. Man, it's just because you've taken him up to heights that he doesn't belong.
They're just kids, Bo.
Yeah,
okay.
They're just children.
Let's talk about real prospects here, like his teammate JT Tui Moloau.
Yeah.
Let's look at his measurables. Damon, I know you don't have them, but I do 6'4", 265, 33 3/4 length arms.
Yeah.
That's what you want there. And the productivity, it actually even was it was better when Jack Sawyer produced for the national champions for the Buckeyes. He led the Buckeyes in sacks. think he's a little bit more athletic. He has he was a roommate with Paris Johnson Jr. because I guarantee it was like those are the 2 top prospects they had coming in that recruiting class.
It's a great point. And like you can tell he's close with Paris to be able to share that story. His eyes lit up because they're like, and he there's a chance he met with other teams like post his interview. I'm sure he did. But I was standing there, and everybody was doing the thing that everybody says don't do, which is a crock of you-know-what. Like, it's important to ask who they've met with because then you can add on context of what'd you think? What did you think of Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawls? What would it mean to play with Paris and Marvin Harrison Jr. again? But he went on like a string of like, yeah, I didn't meet with them. And I said, hey, did you meet with the Cardinals, JT? And what'd you think? What would it be like? And he was fired. You could tell he was fired up. And I'm sure that fires up the Arizona Cardinals because they have yet to miss with Ohio State prospects. I know people, Marvin Harrison Jr., he didn't have 1,700 yards this year, but he's going to be a great player. Like, I don't want to miss by taking Ohio State players. I have a comfort level, and so do they. So whether it's Jack Sawyer, maybe a little bit later now, or JT, I mean, like, that's the best chance for the Cardinals to draft an Ohio State product is getting a defensive tackle potentially at 16, trading up, trading back, whatever it looks like, and then coming back around to 47 and trying to get one of these guys. I know JT's your preference. He did have what? Did he have 12 and a half sacks?
I thought he had closer to like 14.
He had a lot of. I mean, he was the more explosive edge rusher, whereas Jack kind of did everything. He intercepts passes, fumble recovery for a touchdown. I mean, remember the pass he picked off? I know they lost against Michigan at the goal line. I mean, he's just a really good football player.
12 and a half sacks last year, 5 the year before.
I'd love to have them both on the team.
Now that we've, and I kind of went a little too deep into the paint with Jack Sawyer, let's look at a prospect that I really like.
Not deep enough.
And Jalen Walker. Damon, I believe we have his measurements as somebody that we've heard from even our draft analyst, Fran Duffy, saying that, Jalen Walker, even though he played more snaps off ball, people in the NFL are viewing him as an edge rusher. So keep in mind what I said about Jack Sawyer's arms. Let's take a look at the measurables for Jalen Walker here.
Yeah, we're going to pull him up now.
Yeah, Jalen Walker, 2nd percentile in height at 6'1" as an edge rusher, 243 pounds, good for 6th percentile. That arm length is a little bit better than Jack Sawyer's, but still 5th percentile here for edge rushers. And then decent hand size, 80th percentile for edge rushers. And then all of those stats obviously go up as an off-ball linebacker.
Yeah. Very concerning. Like, it'd be one thing if you didn't have Mack Wilson. And Mack Wilson is probably more in line with the size of Jalen Walker here, the Georgia kind of versatile player. But I think now, like, as we talk about cross-training, as we talk about, position versatility, the Cardinals need as far as to ratchet up the pressure, I think that those measurables show that you should be skeptical about his ability to do it consistently enough at the next level.
Well. If somebody on the show had mentioned
I'm saying I was wrong. Where you just spent a whole time like making excuses for your boy.
No, I said I would. I'm not sure I would take Jack Sawyer at 47 anymore.
Okay.
I think maybe appropriately at 78. I think that's me admitting that he's got some limitations athletically. I've been saying Jalen Walker is an off-ball linebacker for 3 months this offseason. I've talked about it. He's a great athlete and was a great collegiate player. I have concerns about him. I don't think he's not Micah Parsons. He's not Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, to me, you could see the explosiveness off the edge. He would beat tackles regularly in the Big Ten. Jalen Walker didn't do that. Jalen Walker is going to be an off-ball linebacker in the NFL, and that's great. And I'm sure he's going to be a great player for some team, but it's not going to be for the Arizona Cardinals. To your point, they have Mack Wilson Sr. They're probably going to sign one in free agency. We know that because Zaire White not expected back. I feel like those numbers in particular, and then look, his tape doesn't match. 12 and a half sacks. What do you have? Couple? 4, 5, 6?
6 and a half.
And then you've got off-ball linebacker traits. You're probably an off-ball linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, he would fit the scheme. He would, but as far as what I think the Cardinals really need to find and invest in are guys that are going to be able to consistently win off the edge and really get that pressure.
Yep, absolutely. We know we're having some connectivity problems here in Indianapolis. We appreciate you guys bearing with us here as we continue to move on to Jalen Walker's peer, his teammate, Monti Williams, who is much more of a traditional edge rusher. This is from our guy Trevor Sikkema, lead draft analyst at PFF. 81st percentile in height, 39th for weight. How about those arms? 34 in the 80th percentile. Hands in the 10th percentile, or excuse me, 10-inch hands at the 79th percentile. Just tremendous size from a kid that, listen, I think coming into this draft process, a lot of people assumed he was the lesser of the two prospects compared to Jalen Walker. But, man, I look at him and I think untapped potential. Now, he doesn't have robust sack numbers, but he at least he projects to be an edge rusher. He had 5 sacks basically every year at Georgia, but he's 20 years old, 6'5", 265. This is a moldable piece of clay that can come in and I think really set the edge for whomever takes him. I expect him to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he's I mean, depending on what he's going to show out here potentially at the combine, it's there's a lot to like about this, and a lot of teams like the projectables that he has seemingly all those boxes checked here. Aside from maybe you'd like to see a little bit more of the production, but you know, it's not Shamar Stewart. It's not like, hey, that's big red flag city.
Right.
It's something that it's part of the equation, and you got to figure out, like, is this somebody that can get to the next level and be put in situations to be successful?
You guys want to hear from Michael Williams?
We would love that.
Walker?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, Joan Walker talked about, they asked him what his favorite position was, and this was his answer.
I'm a ball player, so just being on the field is my favorite position. I mean, just being everywhere. You just don't know that anticipation of being at the outside backer one snap, and then being an inside backer in one snap, and then being a star the next snap. It gives me the comfort of that they don't know what element of surprise is going to hit them next.
Yeah, I mean, I love hearing that. We got one more, Damon.
Yeah, we do. He called him. He had a nice, cool little term for himself here. Let's see what he called himself.
Different. You know, you're not going to find a lot of guys that will be at 4 positions in one series. So I feel that makes me the different chess piece that no one else can compare to.
I've heard chess piece before. I'm not playing chess. I'm playing sack the quarterback, pressures, disruptive plays off the edge. I don't want to play chess. I don't want to play checkers. I don't want to play bocce ball. I'm here to sack the quarterback. That's what I want to see somebody say, hey, I'm here to put my hand in the dirt and whoop your tackle's ass, and I'm going to get 13 sacks a year. That's what I want. Who can do that for me? Somebody else can do that for me in this class.
Yeah. We heard from his Georgia Bulldogs teammate, Monti Williams. Let's hear what he had to say at the podium.
So you were playing on a bad ankle all season long?
All season.
So what were you doing? Attending meetings and then?
Yeah, attending meetings, going to treatment. After meetings, I was going to treatment trying to rehab my ankle the whole practice.
And then what happened on Saturday? Did they tape you up?
Oh yeah, tape me up and I'm out there playing.
Okay. What percent do you think you're
The whole season?
Yeah.
Less than 70, less than 60.
So what is 100% Monti Williams bring?
We're going to see.
He's feasting right now, according to folks watching, on the bags via the NFL Combine and NFL Network. So, I mean, that is somebody that, if he's in striking distance, I would expect the Arizona Cardinals to pursue.
Yeah,
that is what the Cardinals need. And again, you watch him last year, and this is new information that he was injured and he played through it. You could tell at times he was compromised a little bit. It was a big reason why Georgia kind of underachieved. But he wanted to play. He wanted to be there for his teammates, and you respect that.
Right.
And now he's like, hey, unlike a lot of these guys, unlike Abdul Carter, like, I'm healthy now, and I'm going to show you what I can do.
Yeah. We're starting to get some of the numbers, some of the workouts, the drills being run here in Indianapolis, just down the street from where we're broadcasting live at Lucas Oil Stadium. Some eye-popping numbers. We're going to get into those. We'll reveal those coming up next here on PHNX Cardinals.
Eye-popping numbers here in Lucas Oil and with our friends at Bet365. Never ordinary. They've got eye-popping numbers and 90 million users worldwide, 780,000 events each year across every landscape of the sports scene. Right now, NBA tip-off Tuesdays are fantastic. They've got NHL and hopefully, fingers crossed, some robust draft props. Right now, you can check them out. They've also got 100% parlay boosts. Gentlemen, double your winnings on parlays with Bet365, 100% parlay boost. Download the app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Again, new customers right now, $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Sign up with that PHNX365 bonus code. Deposit just 10 bones, $10. Place a 5 spot, you're going to get $150 in bonus bets. Do what you want. Just don't bet on the Phoenix Suns. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. You got to be 21 years and older, located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov for more information. You laugh at my son's joke. We had a robust conversation last night. It's just like, Kevin Durant, man. Like, what do you do with Kevin Durant? That's a conversation for another day. I know.
Yeah, it absolutely is. There was some shade being thrown, and there's some shade always being thrown with our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. And we love All Pro Shade Concepts. Of course, they've got so many things going on. Extend your outdoor living space, custom fit awning, hundreds of designs, colors to choose from, match any home, and can work with your HOA. They're always pesky for approvals. Motorized, retract, remote control, all LED lighting to light up your patio under the awning. You love it. Roll down patio shades that block the sun to keep the patio 20 degrees or cooler. Look, the temperatures are already rising in the Valley of the Sun. They did this week. It's nice to get out there and feel the warmth, but at the same time, you want to keep that sun out of your eyes when you're in your home. Best way to do that with our friends over at All Pro Shade Concepts. In business for 20 years in the Valley. Started making window shades by hand and for friends in the Valley. Now they're one of the largest installers of patio, roll-down shades, and motorized awnings in the Valley. Licensed, bonded, insured. Call them right now, 623-204-1476. That's 623-204-1476. And visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate.
If you're not a diehard already, what are you waiting for? Go to GoPHNX.com. Fran Duffy has been crushing it. He is at Lucas Oil Stadium right now, taking in the workouts, talking shop. Get his draft guide. Right now, the ultimate resource for the 2025 NFL Draft is available for you. Become a diehard, $48. You get the draft guide plus everything else, a free piece of merch, exclusive access to the PHNX Cardinals member Discord, and more. Hoping to talk with Fran here pretty soon because, again, there's so much to break down. Speaking of breaking down, 40-yard dashes for the big men right now. The name that stands out in terms of high-level prospect, Derek Harmon, 4.9 seconds. We know the Arizona Cardinals met with Derek Harmon, 6'4 and a half, 315 arm length. This isn't a problem. Almost 35 inches, a mountain of a man. Right now, testing is going very well, including, this is the money spot for defensive tackles, Bo, a 1.74 10-yard split for Harmon, who a lot of people think, I mean, there's a comp right now. Akeem Hicks was a great player for Tampa Bay once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's somebody right now with these unknowns, with Mike Green, et cetera, that he could find himself creeping up the top, 20, 25 picks.
Yeah, right. Somebody who's testing well, measuring well, a guy who's interviewing well, making his way up draft boards. And as you said, the sub 5 40 time for the big man. And that the 10-yard split, it's in the 82nd percentile for the position.
It's big time. I mean, he's drawing comparisons right now on Twitter to a young Cameron Hayward for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'll take one of those.
And it's NFL.com's like he just is built to be a Steeler or a Raven. Not if the Cardinals take him instead. Now, could you take him at 16? I mean, I could say that's rich, and that could not age well in about 2 weeks from now. He might be a top 20 pick after this weekend. I mean, a lot of guys, and we haven't talked about it too much, a lot of guys aren't able to work out today, whether by personal choice or there's injury going on. So, I mean, here's where I'm at with the Cardinals. Marv didn't work out last year. There's a special circumstance. 2 years ago, Paris did, Michael Williams did, or Michael Wilson did. The Cardinals want you to have the complete package, right? They want you to crush it on the field, crush it in meetings especially. That's why they come here. And then, of course, crush it on the field during workouts, going out there and competing. Derek Harmon's competing, and that Oregon team was elite until they ran into that Ohio State buzzsaw at the end of the year.
Yeah, Derek Harmon is somebody that's potentially skyrocketing himself from hey, is this guy going to be a late day 2 pick or to a guy that can be early day 2 to potentially day 1 guy?
Yeah.
And certainly an area of need for the Arizona Cardinals. Somebody as he said, getting Cam Hayward comps. Somebody that you pair him with Darius Robinson on that defensive line. That's pretty exciting to think about. You see a lot of other numbers being put up. We see like Landon Jackson, the pass rusher, put up a 40 and a half inches vert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kid out of Arkansas can absolutely just leap out of the gym. Should be a guy that continues to put up, solid times out there as far as the combine go.
He was a 5-star, and a lot of people I've seen people talk about his character, that he's like a high character guy.
Yeah,
for sure. So someone that the Cardinals might be interested in.
I think that 47th pick, I think, with him. Yeah.
Cardinals they're doing their due diligence on all these guys. And again, like the tight ends talked this morning, the corners talked this morning. I mean, we got our meat and potatoes yesterday. Just it feels like the Cardinals know the task at hand. Listen, I expect them to draft a DB at some point. They do it every year. But like leaning into this draft, I mean, Ossenfort said it himself. Like, this is the first time in 2 years we're going to be able to be like, oh yeah, we get to pick from defensive linemen instead of like you're hoping and praying Darius falls to you, because otherwise they felt like there wasn't a caliber D lineman that was worth taking.
Yeah.
Right. And they tried to trade up for either Byron Murphy or Dallas Turner. Like the Cardinals this year, it's like they could have multiple players to pick from at both 16 and 47 that they love, and that is very similar like Marv last year. It's like Neighbors or Marv, right? Joe Alt or Marv. They've got that. It's a good problem, but they've got that problem now to have a defensive line.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like, okay, you drastically need to get better at that spot, and this draft is going to put you in a position to do so. Like, you can't sit out free agency. You add 1 to 2 pieces to that spot, but then you continue to really kind of invest in the draft, and things are looking great there. If you're watching with one of our streaming partners, if you're watching on TV, thank you so much. Your journey nearly coming to an end, but you can continue on with us over at gophnx.com. Thanks for watching, of course, PHNX Cardinals. But, yeah, it's finally here. We're finally starting to see these guys hopefully kind of separate themselves here, which has been kind of a cluttered draft board. Not like a true top 10 has solidified itself in some variation. Hopefully this combine is going to start to do that.
Shamir Stewart playing right into his audience right now, putting on a show, working out, being reported by Jordan Reed, among others, 40-inch vertical jump. I mean, it's just, is he Tyree Wilson or is he the DK Metcalf of edge rushers, right? I mean, DK Metcalf came here and was a freak show, and people are like, well, you had 500 yards, right? What does the tape say?
You're talking like DK Metcalf or N'Keal Harry?
No, I'm talking like,
because they had like very similar like workouts here, and then one went on to be a bust, and the other one went on to be a
I'm talking about
receiver.
DK Metcalf didn't have great production in college. He only had like 500 yards, and I'm talking about Tyree Wilson didn't have great production in college. Like, you're going to have to be able to convince your fan base, like Shamir Stewart. You got to talk to his coaches. You got to talk to all the people in his building. Like, what was he asked to do? What does the tape say? Was he asked to do a very specific thing and it limited sack production, right? Did they not prioritize that as much as maybe some other teams? I mean, that's Shamir Stewart is going to put together, a performance this weekend that people are going to be like, that's a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
But it's like, why'd you only have 1.5 sacks then?
3 consecutive years.
Yeah, that's
with not a lot of pressures.
He
didn't even have that.
You guys want to hear what he had to say about his lack of sacks?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'll say sometimes the stats don't tell the whole story. It's all about the film. And when you look at the film, you could really see what was going on for the most part. But I'll say production is a little bit overrated.
When you only have 4.5 sacks in 35 games, I mean, you probably would say that too.
Production overrated? We'll maybe push back on that.
Well, Johnny, if we don't pick him, he says it's going to be bad news.
If you don't pick me, just don't bring a hell to your city.
I am in hell if they pick him. I'm in hell if Shamir Stewart is an Arizona Cardinal. With all due, that's one of those situations where, like, if you're Monti Ossenfort and you pass on him and he's a great player, like, I will give you all the grace in the world. I'm like, this guy, come on now. Like, take a guy who projects to be better than 1.5 sack. I mean, unless I'm just missing something here, I'd love to be courted or educated by the chat right now of why he's going to be a stud edge rusher. I mean, like, it's what I go back to, like, Jack Sawyer. It's like, that guy's on film. He's a great football player, but he's not going to test well. Shamir Stewart, like, he's pretty average in terms of production, less than average as an edge rusher.
One big step forward, Bo, with Osa Odighizuwa, and one giant step backwards with Shamar Stewart.
Shamar Stewart, excuse me.
Who Johnny just, he does this letter thing.
Let me look up Shamar Stewart's draft profile here. This is via NFL.com, and of course, we got our guy Fran Duffy, which we'll chat about. But 6.41 will become good starter within 2 years. His NFL comp, Roy Robertson Harris. That doesn't, his weaknesses, allows blockers into his frame, gets pushed off the ball. His strength is carved from granite with a rare combo of size, length, and explosiveness. I don't care what his his body type looks like. First step burst and good bender to create danger in gaps. Where's that first step burst off the edge? People are asking. People are wondering. We got your super chats right around the corner. Plus, did I eat my steak? Steak King coming up. PHNX Cardinals. But first, I'm going to tell you about our friends at Pure Edibles, fired up and founded here in Arizona and available in 130 dispensaries statewide. Pure Gummies are not covered in sugar like all the other competitors. A full-fledged candy company offering gummies, kicks, which are just like Starbursts, chews, soft candies like caramel, and hard candies. They got a ton of them, right? I'm a big fan of just the traditional gummies, but you guys do you. Pure Effects are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what you're getting with Pure Edibles. Plus, Pure offers gummies for sleep support, which is great. CBN, CBG, CBD with marijuana-derived THC. They were created in Flagstaff, Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles, and is now made in our hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. Pure gummies are designed to be ripped, which is great. Sometimes you can rip them. Sometimes you can bite them. They're shareable, easy to dial in your exact dose. I always love that. Sometimes it's like, oh, how much did I take? Too much? Not enough? Go find yourself some Pure edible products from one over 130 dispensaries in Arizona right now. Go check them out, Pure Edibles.
Love it from Pure Edibles, 130 dispensaries. Also love it from Carol Royce, which is also based here in Phoenix, Arizona. Give Carol Royce a call if you're looking to sell your house at 480-776-5231. That's 480-776-5231. Your home sold guaranteed realty, or Carol Royce team suggested. You got following, of course, Arizona teams can be stressful, and so can be selling your house, but not with Carol Royce, because she doesn't just give you, a good shot to sell your house. She gives you a guaranteed one. Carol will offer a guarantee to sell your house for 100% of the market value, or she'll pay the difference. Considering a cash offer, don't settle for one. Get up to 6 of the best offers with at least 100% of the market's value with Carol, and she'll pay that difference. Check it out right now. Check out Carol Royce, her family-owned real estate company that's been in the Valley for over 3 decades, 12,000 homes sold. When it's time to sell your home, make the smart play. Call Carol Royce or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Everybody drop a like on this video. We appreciate you holding it down with us as we bear with us with these Indy Wi-Fi. But the good news is you can download and subscribe, come back, watch later, download the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're fired up here live from the side of the NFL Combine. And last night, we had a banner dinner of 5 stars.
The performances began actually last night, not today. Began at St. Elmo's Steakhouse.
We hooked it up, got a reservation at St. Elmo's, the premier steakhouse here, the site of last year where I loaded up on appetizers and then did not have any room for my steak. And so, as announced on this show yesterday, I would run it back with the exact same steak portion of a year ago, which was the 14-ounce ribeye.
You did do that.
And so, yeah, I don't know if you want to – it's not going to come from me because it would be disingenuous. So
I mean, it's already kind of just – come from you. You just kind of were gloating a little bit.
I haven't said anything.
But yeah, it was time to kind of put up or shut up last night.
Yeah.
And no, actually he didn't shut up. He just kept talking through it. And it was how many courses? You had the full helping of
I think it's
shrimp cocktail.
I didn't fast to do this, and Bo told me I couldn't, so I didn't. I had a light salad for lunch.
We were playing hurt all day yesterday because of the previous evening.
Yeah, I'm still kind of playing hurt,
to
be honest with you.
But let's get back to the dinner. You started off with the full
order of shrimp cocktail.
That's right. That's 4 pretty large shrimp with the cocktail sauce and the horseradish in there, and open up your sinuses. You can smell space from once your sinuses get open that wide. You polish that off with ease.
I did.
The bread was dropped off. You had a light portion of bread.
But I did eat some. Last year, that was probably my biggest vice. Is I was ripping bread.
Right. So you kind of you held back. And then also you got into the lobster bisque.
I did. Yep.
Which was delicious.
Finished my
cup of lobster bisque.
Maybe the best thing they do there.
Then it was time to order the entree.
Yeah.
And you had a little strategy here.
Yeah, I traditionally I love the mashed potatoes, and they've got multiple different options. They've got the red, they've got the traditional, they've got the baked potato. And I said, you know what? Even though it wasn't a mandate that I finish my side, I said, I'm going to go green beans.
Yeah.
Steamed green beans. I'm trying to stay healthy, and I'm going to finish all of them. And so I got the 14-ounce ribeye, as did Damon Dawg, as did Shane Deef. Now, what did you end up getting?
I ended up getting the fillet. I'm a fillet guy. I don't
Yeah.
I don't like a lot of the fat. And you guys can come at me, whatever. That's my preferred choice of
How big was your
beef.
fillet? It was a big one.
It was. So there was a choice to have an 8-ounce or I believe a 12-ounce.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of work in solidarity with you.
Mhm.
So I got as big as I could. And yeah, I mean, but I'm not the guy that was
Bo finished
on
his food
display.
first, for sure.
And I had the mashed potatoes. I didn't really take it easy on the bread.
My favorite part of the dinner, every time I looked at Bo, was filming me. That was the best part of eating there. Long story short, I think we'll just...
Wasn't short. It's a long story longer. You did it.
Let's go to the photo, Damon Dawg, from last night. By the way, over Bo's right shoulder. I did complete the steak challenge. I did finish my dinner to completion. I actually finished ahead of Damon Dawg, but he did get the mashed potatoes, so I'll give him credit. But yeah, I'm pretty
got a baked potato. But I also, you know what? Like, hand up, I wasn't aware that it was a race.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
that we
true.
were just trying to finish our food. I didn't know that. I mean, you didn't finish your food either by the same standard. So
see, like
Shane is arguing that Damon didn't finish his food.
Shane, who had half a baked potato on his plate as well as me. I didn't. I literally ate most of it by the time that they picked it up off my table.
Yeah, this poor Damon having to deal with what I had to deal with last year. It's just
I just like Johnny. It's like, does someone have to be attacked here? Is that the what we just figured out? Because I finished my steak, and sorry, my bad.
There were people waiting to be seated because you were just taking forever to work your way through that steak. But look, Johnny was a big boy. He cleaned his plate. Last night we spelled redemption, JOHNNY.
Adam Schefter above Bo's right shoulder, no doubt tweeting about Abdul Carter being injured. In the meantime, just several streets away.
He did. So, like, here's Johnny. He has this
Johnny embarrassed us.
He did. He had this big accomplishment. It's something he's been talking about for almost a full year, Damon. And he does it. And he's so happy. And we're proud of him. And here's Shane. He's going to take a picture of him. And Shane's already going to do what Johnny suggests, but as loud as he possibly could. Couldn't control the volume of voice. It's like, get Schefter in the picture. And then Schefter,
because I'm
looks over like, who's this creep?
He's like, you think Schefter's proud of me?
No, I didn't say that. I'm always thinking about you, the audience, and the content. And I said, let's get Adam Schefter in the picture. Did he look over? I don't know if he did. These guys say he did. Here, at the end of the day, what am I going to be chummy with Adam Schefter? Like, we got insiders that come on this show. We're fully covered. All right. Hey, Adam Schefter wants to come on the show. He knows how to get a hold of me. Speaking of insiders, though, it broke later in the evening. I do have to touch on this.
Yeah.
Friend of the program, Jordan Schultz.
Yeah.
Got into it with Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. And are we allowed to say kind of
well, it's funny because we had insider Benjamin Albright on the show who was kind of setting everything straight.
It's a great point.
As far as the report,
yeah,
this was like hours before,
and
and kind of set things up. And then we're leaving dinner, and by the way, right after dinner, Johnny tapped out. The rest of us went out, had a couple drinks in the town.
I had to get ready for today. Today was a big day.
Anyway, it was a big day, but 3/4 of us were able to continue on, and you went home.
I did some work.
We had a great time, Bo.
But anyway, the report comes from Pro Football Talk. Mike Florio is writing up how there's some sort of like verbal argument at a Starbucks between two insiders.
The Starbucks I just got my coffee at.
Yeah.
Jordan Schultz.
See what that is, by the way.
Get out of here.
You
It's
gotta
a
check
chai
this
tea. Get out. Get your
What is
big
this, chocolate sauce?
get your big mitt off of my coffee. I brought this guy a sandwich earlier too. Basically threw it on the ground, called me scum. Jordan Schultz was at Starbucks with Ian Rappaport, and
because Rappaport was kind of refuting.
So basically what's happening right now is the Raiders are actively pursuing Matthew Stafford, and Tom Brady's trying to get him, and they're just trying to figure out if the compensation will work, and clearly the money works with the Raiders, and it sounds like Stafford wants to be there. Albright reported that on this show yesterday. Then it came out with Jordan, and then Albright's doubling down on that today. And Ian Rappaport, on the flip side, was very much coming at it from a conservative standpoint that there was a big coincidence that Stafford and the Raiders and Tom Brady met up.
I'll
So
say it, Johnny, and because you guys, I get it. You must
explain to the people what I'm trying to say.
Ian Rappaport is carrying water, and Jordan Schultz is telling it like it is.
Right, correct.
And Benjamin Albright is he's the bad boy of sports media.
He is.
He's the GOAT.
He's our good friend.
And he came on and he told us like it is too. And then Jordan got mad at Ian Rappaport and verbally accosted him, whatever that means. And yeah, I guess Rappaport filed a complaint.
He said the F word to his face.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Somebody I care about a lot earlier today said the F word to my face, and I think it only made us closer. So I'll hopefully give you some more insight on that in the coming days. But if you're upset about some profanity here at the NFL Combine, maybe this isn't the place for you.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't where you
the big boy
belong.
table.
I was like,
That's right.
Speaking of big boys, Ty Robinson. Then we hear that he was from Arizona. He played collegiately at Nebraska. He's from Gilbert, Arizona. 6'6", 310. Just ran a 4.83 40.
Sheesh.
Nebraska, though, that's a concern. Nebraska's a little bit of a concern.
Come on, Johnny. There's Khalil Mack went to Buffalo.
That's fair.
Big Ten.
I know. It probably mid-rounder. That's a flyer. Third.
He's a DT. They ran a 4.83. What did Fisk run last year?
Didn't he run like a 4.7?
I don't want to hear. I don't want to talk about Braden Fisk. I don't.
I guess he checked in at under 3, so he's 288. 6'5", 288.
Might be too lean for JG. I don't know if that's big enough. Super chats coming down the pipeline. Damon, Dawg, let's get to him while he's reading these off. Hit us with a like. We're light on the likes today, friends. Come on.
Reezy baby, Donovan Jackson in the second round is the answer for left guard, future All-Pro, #OSU Pipeline.
Wow. I don't know.
Filled in really well at left tackle for Josh Simmons, who was injured earlier this season. Helped, kind of fortify that offensive line. Will Howard really didn't face much pressure the entire season long. And, credit to Donovan Jackson. It would be him reuniting with his position coach, Justin Fry, who makes the jump from Ohio State to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know. I mean, I still would like to see them really kind of lean into this defensive front class.
Yeah.
Before getting into that guard thing, even though the guard position is now a little bit in flux in free agency because the top one went out before the market opened in Trey Smith, as we talked about earlier today.
Brian saying JV hasn't slept well in his World War II mattress. I have not, and that is the biggest reason why. But I'm sticking it out until tonight. Bo said that I can have his bed and he will sleep on the cot. So we're gonna switch.
Which is crazy because I can't drink caffeine. But yeah, I'll do that for you, big guy. You earned it.
I appreciate that.
You're a sweetheart, Bo.
You are. He's a sweet, sweet man, just like you, Damon. Give me
my other option was I have to share a bed with Johnny.
It's a king size bed.
It's a huge bed.
We were gonna put a barrier in between.
Might be the biggest bed I've ever seen.
Don't be soft.
It's not like Shaq's bed.
Yeah, it's a California king. It barely fits in the room of the Airbnb.
How'd they get that thing in there?
I don't know. You had to do it through a crane over the building. Let's keep going.
Call_N $2 says that's why we draft Will Howard at 114, our future quarterback, sticking with the Ohio State.
I don't hate that. Will Howard at 114. I don't hate that. Let's develop him. Big Will got some
Willie H.
Big Willie style.
Got some big thighs. Can run around a little bit. Arms lively. He's a winner.
Was it Free Willie?
I mean, Will Howard out of that quarterback room, sign me up. Somebody said in the chat, JV thinks Ohio State is the draft. It's called an overcorrection. When you don't draft any Ohio State players for the better part of over 10 years, the last one I think was Beanie Wells in 2009, and all Ohio State does is produce great players. Yeah, let's have an overcorrection. I'm okay with that.
Honestly, I'm sitting here right now, Derek Harmon with JT in the second.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, sign me up for that.
Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan. I mean,
yeah.
We are going to have to get to a point where it's like, what's the edge rusher at 16 look like? Is it James Pierce Jr.? Is it Mikael Williams? Like, who's the edge rusher at 16 that makes this most sense? Because we do have a bite on Mike Green talking about the allegations. While we don't feel like he's an option for the Cardinals, hear from the Marshall standout now.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk out there, and it's just a bunch of people that really don't know what actually happened. I'd never done anything wrong. I've never been charged with anything. My main focus right now is just telling these teams everything that they need and want to know. It's just a little frustrating just seeing online that everybody just has everything to say, and that's not the case. So I'm just going to continue to stick to the process, and I'm confident in myself and the way I've been handling this process. So that's what I'm going to keep on doing. At the time, the teams were able to just suspend you. I was suspended off the team. I had to depart from the university. I could have stayed at the university if I wanted to, but after I got suspended, I wanted a fresh start. I wanted to go somewhere that I was able to lay down a foundation, and that's what caused me to enter the transfer portal and go to Marshall.
I mean, it just was there a. I don't want to say there's a lack of accountability there at the front end of those comments, because if he didn't do anything wrong, he should defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
But you also want to believe victims when things are reported. So, and then Damon, you mentioned it. Like, if there's one issue, you deal with it. There's been 2 issues now. There's been 2 occurrences with him. So I hope that none of it's true and he can go somewhere and have a long, successful career. I don't think, given with what we know from Ossenfort and company, that they're going to take him.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. He also had something to say about his viral moment that he had at the Senior Bowl. Let's hear that.
It was kind of crazy. I seen like a few views. I had 1 million views, and it was just a pleasure, and it was relief, because I was out there for one reason only, and that's to show that I can compete with the top guys. And it was just a pleasure. I'm thankful for the Senior Bowl and the opportunity that they gave me to go out there and show my talent.
It was a pleasure to just bulldoze that poor kid at the Senior Bowl. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. It was a privilege to be able to just nearly end a person.
Here's what we know. D tackles, edge rushers who are elite at what they do get opportunities. Jalen Walker was involved with something much more heinous and was drafted in the top 10 because he was considered the best. Jalen Carter, excuse me. He was the best prospect in that draft, right? Who's the kid that the Cowboys took that kept getting every opportunity? And
Randy Gregory.
Yeah, and Alden Smith for the 49ers once upon a time kept getting in trouble. It's just like when guys have a special trait, you get more rope, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's going to get drafted, and I think he is going to perform, because the more you see and the more you hear about his physical traits, like he is what the Cardinals should have been targeting at 16 before this came to light, at least for our show. I just don't think now they're in a position to do that. But I do think he's going to be good.
Let's keep it going with the Super Chats.
Yeah, let's do it. Josh here says, Cards meeting with Mason Graham. Doubt he falls to 16. Is this due diligence, or is this a sign they may be interested in moving up?
What do you think about that?
Potential of them moving up for a guy like Mason Graham? I think he's one of the few guys that you would move up for.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. I think that obviously the teams that would be vying to get up the board for a quarterback would probably need to do that.
Let me walk you through a scenario.
Okay.
Cardinals get Josh Sweat in free agency. Cardinals get, load up, get a guard, do a lot of good stuff. Don't get a D tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you feel like, man, we're really in a really good spot. They spend the money we think. Package 16 and 47, go up and get the best defensive player in the draft.
Yeah, but how high do you have to get? I mean,
top 8 maybe, top 7.
I think like top 5.
Mason
Graham. You're surprised by that?
I could see a world where he's at like 8, 9, 10, and the Cardinals feel like, hey, he's slipping a little bit. Let's move up a few spots.
Here's what I'm going to tell you: this draft class in the top 10, there are teams begging to trade out of the top 10 with how bad this class is. That's why you're hearing now the Giants could trade to number 1 overall, because the Titans are like, well, Abdul Carter, let me move back now. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. Can I get an extra second, or do I want to take a tight end from Michigan? Something to keep an eye on for sure.
It didn't take much. It was relatively cheap cost. It did cost them, I think, a second to get from 12 to 6.
Yeah.
Be a similar. Nah, it's still like 16 to like
16.
Getting like 10 spots is pretty expensive.
Probably have to give up a future pick.
Yeah.
But he's a star. He's a stud player. I think a team was smart enough to just take him.
Yeah. Hopefully not San Francisco.
No.
Johnny, this super chat is for you to read. I don't know how long it'll take to get up on your screen, but I want some name pronunciations out of you.
Oh, geez. Okay, hang on one sec. We're not on a traditional setup, so I can't see the super chats here. I'm scrolling. I'm
got it.
scrolling. What do we got here?
From Reezy Baby.
Yeah, Reezy Baby. Johnny, if we trade down from 16 or up from 47, Donovan Princely or JT?
Give it a try.
Man, that first one. Donovan, Easer.
He's gonna swallow his tongue.
Donovan Riaku. Princely's last name. Oh man. And I talked to Princely and he's meeting with the Cardinals. He seems like a great kid. Princely Umanamian and JT Tomalalu. JT Tomalalu. How's that?
Money.
Yeah.
Cash money.
I'm so glad he asked you, not me, because I would have fumbled just as poorly.
I took a foreign language for 4 years in junior high into high school, and it was the toughest subject of my life. And so, and it was Spanish. A lot of people crush it at that. It's a beautiful language. I'm just not meant to learn another language right now. Maybe later in life, when the Cardinals have 10 Super Bowls, I can hang up my cape and get, one of those books on tape and listen.
Hang up your cape, huh?
Yeah.
Any other super chats?
Yeah, we got one more from Tim here.
Okay.
It says, since JV finished his steak, here's some hope for regarding Sawyer.
Oh.
Marcus Golden had 31 and an 1/8 inch arms and was shorter than Jack Sawyer and was still a very productive player in the NFL despite that.
He was really explosive off his first step. I remember that. I remember because Shane Ray went before him, and everybody was slobbering all over the Broncos because they jumped the Cardinals for Shane Ray. He was a huge bust. Marcus Golden, though, goes to the Cardinals and has been one of their best homegrown players in 10-plus years. It's really going to – and Marcus looked good in drills. If Jack comes out and he's got stick legs, like my co-host calls it, and he looks stiff running, then we're going to have a problem. But if he's out there and it's like he's got limited tools, but he's doing the most with them, and he's a great football player, I'm still on board. I want to believe. He's an infectious personality. His teammates love him. Like, please, we're going to go over and watch here in a little bit. Like, I think we're going to be able to watch the edge rushers work out because the D tackles are going on right now. I might make a poster for Jack. Would that be unprofessional if I
would?
No, I think that's totally free game.
No, I think you should refrain from doing that.
Okay.
You would embarrass me.
I think you should get like a jersey.
Jack Sawyer jersey, maybe a homemade one.
Yeah.
I asked that guy for his college shirt. I'm going to draw Jack Sawyer's number and name on it. Man, what a day.
Did you guys want to hear from Walter Nolan real quick?
Yeah, let's hear from him.
A couple quick bites from him. He did meet with the Cardinals. I asked him that question. No big deal.
Yep.
And also he had a good comparison to himself after that.
Yes, I have. It was a pretty good interview. That was my first time actually talking to Arizona for real, so I had fun talking to him. I'm smaller, but I'm strong as ox. So I feel like that's kind of what it is, honestly. Like a lot of offensive linemen think I'm a smaller. I ain't gonna really do nothing, but once I get my hands on you, you're gonna feel me. So
that's why they gave the comp on the NFL Network today with Aaron Donald, because he was a little bit smaller defensive tackle.
Strong as an ox.
Princely told us that Walter Nolan is like the scariest dude and the best player he's ever played with. So, I mean, is Walter not working out this week?
I haven't seen any of his numbers yet.
I don't remember anyone asking him. Another interesting note on Walter. He said that he's playing at about 290, 295. He's like as you mentioned right there, similar to Aaron Donald, very small in weight for a defensive tackle.
I mean, we've been a fan of him since the Senior Bowl. I'm not gonna act like I grinded a bunch of Ole Miss tape, but I mean, he's worth the 16th pick, right?
He said Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Ole Miss?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
I thought he said old.
Look at Bo just playing gotcha over
on the other end of the spectrum.
Doing like 10 hours of live TV here from the Combine. He's critiquing how I pronounce things.
On the other end of the spectrum, you have Walter Nolan, who's a small guy, and then you have Kenneth Grant.
Yeah,
who's
big boy.
Absolutely massive.
Who is not working out.
Yes, and he talked a little bit about his weight and whether or not he's a 3-down player.
I played at 345. I'm about like 332 right now, so I felt definitely better, agile, faster, but more so like stronger. I'm a 3-down player for sure. I can rush the passer with my, strength. I had a little bit of finesse in there, but, most guys think I'm just a run stopper, but I'm super athletic and can rush the passer.
Mason Graham actually said, by the way, on his podium as well, that Kenneth Grant is like the most athletic dude he's ever met.
He's just like a very likable guy when you hear him talk, and
Mm-hmm.
it sucks because he was going to work out and he hurt his hamstring. So, and that gives us PTSD with Darius last year. It's like, no, we got to have healthy hamstrings here in 2025. But he's going to work out at his pro day. Very much an option. Like,
Yeah.
if we had to ballpark it, and I might ask you to do this tomorrow too, but let's just ballpark it right now. As Tim confirming no workouts for Nolan. Let's give a group of guys who we think they would take at 16 right now.
Right now, okay.
Yeah, realistic, right?
Yeah.
I would say from an edge rusher standpoint,
Okay.
James Pierce Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Michael Williams.
Yep.
Those are the two guys right now. And then from a defensive tackle standpoint, two guys that just talked, right? And then maybe
So Walter Nolan and who was the second guy?
the Kenneth Grant.
Kenneth Grant. Yeah.
And then Derek Harmon, I would say that'd been too rich, but maybe not now. Derek Harmon maybe in a small trade down. That feels like a group, right? Because we know the Cardinals met with Derek Harmon.
Yeah. If there was a trade down too, I think a guy who's having a really good day today, Darius Alexander. He's a Senior Bowl standout. It's almost like
Come on.
carbon copy.
Where is he from?
He's a little bit bigger. Toledo.
Oh no. Oh no.
That was not music to Johnny's ears. I think if you are a Senior Bowl guy, they will be way more interested in you.
Yeah.
We've seen that. So, like, Walter Nolan.
He was in college for 5 years.
So was much of the draft class that they had last year.
I know. I feel like Darius Alexander, you want to take him at 47. I'm not
Sure,
taking
yeah.
this guy in the
Okay.
first round.
No, and I said trade down.
Yeah, trade down. So, yeah. So we got the 5 right now that we're feeling comfortable with.
Yeah.
We've removed Mike Green. We'll see. We'll see what else goes
Jalen
down.
Walker, you guys just think he doesn't fall there or just not interested?
I'm just not interested in him as a player. I'm willing to be courted. It's going to take a lot of heavy lifting, just like Bo Brock and the Jack Sawyers and the Cam Scadaboos of the world. So if he's up for it, but did the Cardinals meet with Jalen Walker? We don't know yet. We were grinding, doing something when he was talking. So
yeah,
but
he was a cool dude, though. I will say, like he seemed like a pretty introspective guy.
Like I don't dislike him. I just
you hate him.
I have PTSD from
kind of this. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with me and Sawyer. I don't dislike Sawyer, but like you say so many things about Jack Sawyer that I have to come from a standpoint of logic, and I sometimes have to get nasty to really drive a point home because you're not living in reality, really.
That was gaslighting 101 right there. I have to get nasty because of the things that you say.
Yeah. I think the things that you say are so false and inaccurate. I have to do the opposite end, and I end up hurting people in the process, hurting people that I care about. You're hurting me. If you don't like this video, subscribing to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Check out Fran Duffy's work at gophnx.com. You will not regret it. We appreciate everybody hanging with us. I'm going to tease something right now. We got a couple banner guests. We can't tell you who they are, but you're not going to want to miss these in the coming days. We're hoping to drop one of them mañana on a Friday. Early show tomorrow. I think we're going to be at right around noontime, AZ, 2 p.m. local time here on the East Coast for our last day at the 2025 NFL Combine. It's been a banner week as always. We thank everybody, all the prospects, and all of you for liking this video. Who you want at Pick 16? Drop a comment down below. Bo Brock, how we living?
We're living well, man. One more sleep before we return to the Valley of the Sun. But, man, we have so much great stuff in store for all of you out there. Make sure, as Johnny said, subscribe to PHNX Sports and like this video on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave that 5-star rating. Leave that review. It does so well for us. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Thursday watching these players work out here at the Combine. We're going to go down the street and take it in live. Make sure you're in the exclusive member Discord. We'll give you the sights and sounds from there as well. Can't wait to talk to you and you find out what's in store for a Friday edition of PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.